overrated. Not
I am going 6-0 in the division because the rest of the division sucks.
This is the best division in football, Tori. Take that step back. We are seeing the true quarterback that he really is, which he is not a very good quarterback.
Welcome to the Man Now, where we taking over. It's time to give you them facts. Won't miss a game or two, cause we here for you and we reporting all of them stats. We coming to you live to keep you updated. Broadcast across the country, we the fan favorites. Break the volume to the max and don't nobody touch it. We cross the topics off the list, addressing every subject. So if you ain't got a clue, then you can tune in and give it 24 hours and we back again. Breaking news, new scoops, we the top dogs. From the fields to the courts, we report it all. Buzzer beaters through your speakers, we the ones to call. Trust us for the news if it's got a ball. Giving you the top stories cause we love the turf. Tell a friend to tune in and where you heard it first. Yeah, you're listening to the Man Now. We taking over, it's time to give you them stats. Yeah, you listen to the Man Now. Miss a game or two cause we reporting all of them facts. Yeah, you listen to the Man Now. We taking over, it's time to give you them facts. Turn the speakers up a little loud. Miss a game or two cause we reporting all of them stats. Because you listen to the Man Hour.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckcuster here with the Man Hour. Sure to head over to manhourradio.com. Check out the merchandise page. Sure to check out the blog section as well. We got the new Fire merch that just dropped over there at manhour.com/merch. But we do got a great show for you guys lined up tonight. But we have to welcome the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Wayne G. What's going on, Wayne?
What's going on? I'm excited to be back on the show. I wish it was under better circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely understand you are licking your wounds after a tough loss over the weekend here. But all in all, before we get too carried away into the details of the game, as a outsider, as a football enthusiast, how do you feel about the game? Like, did you actually enjoy some Monday Night Football?
If I were to take my fan bias out of it, I think that I always enjoy Monday Night Football. I enjoy Thursday Night Football, even though that's usually crap. I enjoy, obviously, Sunday football.
Yeah.
It's football, man. There's no such thing as bad football.
There is such thing as bad football when the Denver Broncos have played like 7 primetime games in 7 weeks, but we'll digress from that a little bit. But guys, we do got a pretty good show for you lined up tonight. Of course, we do got some Wayne G on to talk some New England Patriots. We are going to talk about this quarterback controversy that is brewing. We're going to talk about how bad their defense is, but we're also going to talk about how great the Patriots are going to be moving forward as they do beat the Buffalo Bills here in a couple weeks. Those aren't Wayne's words. Those are my words. But I see my man Alpha Rob in the chat. What is up, Alpha Rob? And Wayne G, Alpha Rob comes out of the gates firing. He says, how about those Pats, Wayne G? How about those Pats, man?
Well, you win some, you lose some. I mean, the Bills aren't undefeated either, right?
Right, they aren't, but they are the best team in the NFL per Beastie Combs power rankings that we released today. And I don't see fortunately, don't see the New England Patriots up there. But Wayne, the Patriots did lose to the good old. Let me stop this virtual machine here right now. It's messing up. There you go. All right, so the Patriots did lose to the Chicago Bears on Monday, 33-14 on Monday Night Football. And basically all the talk was basically how Mac Jones was going to come out, lead the team, denote himself as a starter. But Wayne, he just played 3 series on Monday night. What happened there?
You know what happened, I think, is something that is kind of unprecedented as a Patriots fan, which is Bill Belichick forgot how to coach football. And this has been building up for a little while. We know that Mac Jones flew to Cleveland to be with the team, and there was talk that he might play that game, and then he didn't. So everyone kind of assumed, right, well, he's going to play next week then against the Bears. And then what happened was Bailey Zappi went out and threw for 309 yards and 2 touchdowns, made it a little bit more of a difficult decision. And even though Mac Jones took 100% of the starting snaps all week long, Bill Belichick refused to say he's the starter. Even right up until the game, there were reports like, oh, he's going to rotate the 2 quarterbacks, which didn't make any sense at all. And he goes out there. He has 3 series, obviously a little rusty. But what I mentioned last episode was, he throws off his back foot a lot, and that results in interceptions. He does it a lot, and he did it in this game. Got yanked after the 3rd series. Zappi goes in, touchdown, passing touchdown to Myers. It was a bad pass, but he caught it, and it was a touchdown. Then he leads the scoring drive the next possession. Fans are going berserk. Everyone's like, oh, Mac Jones is never going to play again. And then Zappe kind of comes back to reality in the second half. And now it's just a giant mess because now, I mean, what do you do? It's you've got Mac Jones, who's been castrated on national television, and you've got Zappe, who hasn't really shown you that he's ready to step in and start. It's a giant mess, and it's all Bill's fault.
Yeah, you are 100% correct on that it is Bill Belichick's fault, because apparently I heard rumors that he told the TV crew that they are going to do a 2-quarterback system, but he never told the players. Have you heard anything about that? Like being in the New England area, like is that the news floating around, or is that all kind of just hearsay?
No, that's exactly what was said. And again, the news people, they were talking about it before the game even started. Even at halftime, there was talk, well, Mac Jones could come back in for a couple of series here, and this was the plan all along, to bring him along slowly. But that just doesn't make sense to me. And I wonder if it was almost leaked a little bit so that they would have an excuse to go back to Zappe if Mac struggled, which he did.
Right.
And then it's kind of like, hey, this was the plan all along. We're not benching him. It's just a rotation. Well, then how come he didn't rotate back in? So it's a giant mess. I think Bill Belichick started leaking a bunch of stuff just to try to hedge his bets and not make it look like he was benching one guy. But the reality is, and I heard this theory, is that, maybe this is payback in a way for all of those interceptions early in the season against Baltimore and against, the Steelers, and the way that Mac throws. Maybe it was like, listen, man, we'll put you in there, but you go out there and you throw a pick, you're out.
Really? Wow.
And instead of just saying that, they're like, we're going to run a 2-quarterback system.
Yeah. So, watching the game, you definitely heard the fans start to boo Mac Jones once he threw that interception. Do you think the fans played any part of Bill Belichick pulling Mac Jones and putting Bailey Zappe in there?
You would think that, Bill Belichick would be the one coach who is immune to all of that. But he's not. I think we're all human. And what it really reminds me of is that Tim Tebow with John Fox in Denver. Right? Where the fans were really, we want Tebow. And Kyle Orton was a starter. He starts off 0-4. They're down 35-0 to the Chargers. And he's like, all right, you want Tebow? Here he goes. And I think he was throwing him out there just to kind of show that he's not that good. Well, all he did was score 35 unanswered points.
Right.
And then you have to start him now.
Yeah.
And then he wins 5 or 6 games. So I think Belichick didn't want to be pushed into that like John Fox was, but ultimately he was.
Yeah. So Alpha Rob comes up with the comment here. Let me pop it up on the screen if it's going to pop up here. It looks like it's not going to pop up. But he says, I am so glad that the Zappe crappy thing is over. And Alpha Rob, I think the Zappe crappy thing is what you're referring to. It is just beginning, because now there is a true quarterback controversy in New England, right, Wayne?
There's absolutely a quarterback controversy. And like I said, Mac Jones was just beat down in front of everybody. He was spanked in public, and I think that's hard to recover from. But at the same time, I think what they made it clear is that we play better when Zappe's on the field. And despite his second half yesterday, he also led 2 scoring drives. Mac Jones went 3-and-out interception. Right. So I think that they still play better with Zappe. And so I think that's the direction they're going to lean. Although at this point, who knows?
Yeah. So as a fan, take your your writer's hat off here. Strictly just a fan. Who do you want in there moving forward? Just because we've seen Mac Jones lead a New England Patriots team that's pretty much rode off last year into the playoffs. Granted, they get destroyed in the playoffs, but then you got this up and coming young kid in Bailey Zappe that the team seems to rally around like a little bit. Who do you want as your quarterback?
From what I've seen, I like Zappe better than Mac Jones. I think that he's a little bit more mobile in the pocket. He steps up and sidesteps where he needs to. He throws with confidence. I think Mac throws a lot of wobbly duck balls, and you don't see that from Zappe. He just throws rockets. Neither one of them has great arm strength. Neither one of them is immensely talented. They're actually very, very similar quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I just think that Zappe has that slight edge of being able to navigate the pocket a little bit better. He goes through his reads. He doesn't kind of settle on one guy. So I like that. But even just from the strategic standpoint, it makes sense to start Zappy here because against the Jets, anyways, that's what you got to do. Because I think, if he plays badly, then you get the chance to bring in Mac Jones with no protest,
Right.
the next game. And if he plays great, well, then you just keep riding the hot hand. And that's really what they should have done in the first place.
So you want to see Zappy for the rest of the season or for the rest of for the rest of his career?
Well, just a week-by-week basis. I wouldn't pick either of these guys for the rest of the season or for eternity, but on a week-by-week basis, I think Zappy should be the guy. But I also think that he should have a leash just like Mac did, and Mac can go in. Not in the same game. I think that was just, again, bad management.
Right.
Wait until the next game and put in a different starter.
So we spoke last week on how once you bench Mac Jones, you kind of have to stick with Bailey Zappi by default for the rest of the year. But now you're kind of, waffling around a tad bit, saying that the quarterbacks are going to be a week-by-week basis of whoever's performing better the previous week or in practice, etc. here. So if you bench Mac Jones, do you think the team will still be able to rally and perform around Mac Jones if he does get put back in there as a starting quarterback the 2 weeks later?
Yeah, without a doubt. He's a player-elected team captain. So these guys really love him. They stand behind him. Jacoby Myers came out after the game and said, it's unfair that a guy works this hard to get back, and this is how he's treated. So the players love Mac Jones. And I don't hate Mac Jones. I mean, he's a good player.
Right.
I just believe in riding the hot hand. I think Zappy has the hot hand right now, so you ride that until it cools. It started to cool a little bit in the second half yesterday, but not enough, I don't think, to pull him out completely.
So let me go totally off script here. What if Bailey Zappi gets hot and the Patriots roll off 8 or 9 wins in a row and they become a playoff bound team? Do you keep Mac Jones as a backup quarterback, or maybe causing a quarterback controversy in years to come, or do you trade Mac Jones to a team like the Houston Texans for some picks or something to that effect?
Well, I had said that, after you do it week by week, you get to a certain point in the season where you just have to say, this is our guy for the rest of the year. Usually that's with 7 or 8 games left. You say, this is the guy for the rest of the year. And then next season, I would actually have a quarterback competition between the two of them. I'm not even going to say you're the backup, you're the starter. I'm like, listen, guys, Mac had a great rookie year. Zappy had a great rookie year. Now you guys are duking it out, and whichever one wins, that's the starter. And then the other guy's the backup. Now, if Mac loses that competition, I do think you have to look into a trade scenario because you can still get, good equity from him.
Right.
But if Zappy loses that competition and Mac wins, then you just keep Zappy as the number 2.
Yeah, so it's almost like a Cam Newton effect from 2 years ago, right? Since Cam did lose a starting job, you kind of have to get him out of there because you don't want any type of drama, right?
No, I don't think so. I don't think Mac is a drama guy. I just think because he was a first-round pick, because he has first-round talent, you can still move him for a second or third-round pick in the draft, so he has value. Zappy doesn't have the same value. He was a 4th-round pick.
Right.
So you can't really move on from him. So that's the only reason. I don't think it's a problem in the locker room or anything like that, but I do think that you would move on from Mac Jones just because of what you could get for him in return.
Okay, so this comparison of Bailey Zappi came into the chat, and I kind of want you to go off the hip here and see if the comparison is right here. Alpha Rob says Zappi is last year's Mike White. What do you think about that?
Well, I think, didn't Mike White only have one good game? Zappi has improved every game that he's played. This was a tough one, like I said, and granted, he didn't have a Mike White game where he didn't go out and throw for 400 and some odd yards.
Right.
Another good example there would be Matt Flynn, right? Had the 400-yard game, and then goes to the Seahawks and loses his job to Russell Wilson.
Right.
But, he could be that. I mean, we don't know. He's only played 3-4 games, so we don't really know what we have here, and that's why I say keep playing him to see what you got. If he is Mike White, whatever, then you go with Mac Jones. But maybe he's Tom Brady, right? So it's
maybe, right?
It's one or the other, right?
Yeah, so mean, it is kind of funny that you said, like, we don't know what we have in Bailey Zappi yet, but do we really know what we have in Mac Jones yet either? You know, he is only 1 year in the league, and last year was kind of like a really growing pain for the New England Patriots as a whole. So do we really know what we have in Mac Jones yet?
I think we absolutely know what we have in Mac Jones. And I mean, that was his MO coming into the draft as well, is that of all the quarterbacks in the draft, he had the highest floor, but the lowest ceiling. You know, so really the difference between his floor and his ceiling is a few inches.
Right.
You know, and we knew like the best Mac Jones can be is probably a little bit better than he was last year. You know, he's a game manager. Not that Zappi isn't. He kind of is too.
Right.
But you know what you're going to get. But Zappi, we don't know what his ceiling is. You know, he's a guy who played 1 year of FBS football and threw for 6,000 yards and 62 touchdowns.
Yep.
So let's see if he has that kind of magic in the NFL. But as far as Mac, I feel like you know what you're going to get with him. And what you're going to get is fine. Mac Jones could be a starter for 10 years. I think he's a good quarterback, but he's not great. And I kind of want to see if Zappi's great.
Yeah, so just to reiterate, guys, just because Wayne G says he is a game manager is not a bad term. It is a term for a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL. Alex Smith was a game manager. I would almost put Tom Brady in the game manager category as well. You know, you are there to, you know, not lose games, and, you know, that's what Mac Jones is they built on defense and they win around defense. However, Wayne, the Patriots did give up 33 points on Monday versus the horrible offense of the Chicago Bears. Didn't we just say last week that this is arguably one of the best defensive schemes ever, and then they gave up 33 points to the Chicago Bears? What's up with that?
Yeah, they looked absolutely terrible in this game, and a lot of that, I'll chalk a little bit of it up to Christian Barmore was out. He's a huge, huge impact on that team, not only the pass rush, but in the run stopping. So that hurts. Josh Uche's been out for a couple of weeks. But all that said, there's still no excuse for giving up 33 to the Bears. But I said last episode that this can happen if Justin Fields is allowed to run, because this is the MO of the Patriots, whether they play the Packers, the Chiefs, doesn't matter who they play. They can play the slowest quarterback in the league. And what's going to happen almost every time is the Patriots are going to stuff the run, they're going to knock down a pass, and on 3rd and 8, they're going to give up an 11-yard scramble. You know, on 3rd and 17, they're going to give up a 22-yard scramble. And when you have a quarterback who runs a 4.38 or a 4.4, it's a lot harder to stop those scrambles. Right. And I said that the Bears are going to win. Justin Fields is going to go off. Justin Fields went off. The Bears won. So it's kind of the recipe.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much hit the nail on the head right there on that. So moving forward, the Patriots do arguably have one of the best schemes out there, and they do got a lot of young talent on this team. Do you think it is time for the Patriots to maybe adjust that scheme a little bit, just because the NFL is built a lot different than it was even 5 years ago, where the scrambling quarterback is kind of of the norm? Like, we see Daniel Jones, sneaky, good athletic quarterback, right? Even when he's not tripping over the lines. You got Patrick Mahomes, a good scrambling quarterback. You have Deshaun Watson coming back in the league in six weeks, right? I mean, the top quarterbacks in the league are this scrambling type of quarterback. So how can the Patriots really adjust and become that dominant defense on all aspects and just not cover zero?
Well, if I had to guess, and I don't want to speak for Bill Belichick, I mean, but, you know, why not? After the stinker he put up yesterday. My whole thing with Bill Belichick is this, is that I feel like he's looked at the landscape and he said, yes, the league is changing and we're getting guys who are a little bit more mobile now. But why should he change his philosophy? Because if you think about it, who's the last scrambling quarterback who won a championship? You know, I mean, maybe you could point to Mahomes. Mahomes is pretty mobile, you know, but he's not really a scrambler, but he can. I think Belichick looks at it and says, hey, the guys that we're going to be competing with to go to the Super Bowl aren't going to be running guys. Those guys are great in the regular season. They might beat us in the regular season. But at the end of the day, I put together a playoff and a Super Bowl defense. And I think that's what he has. And his defense gets better every year. They're young. They're athletic. His big thing is his reluctance to go from man-to-man coverage to zone, which will help with some of that scrambling. But he just is like, no, we're playing man-to-man and F everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I do kind of see his point there, just because, like, my team in high school, for example, we are built to win a lot of games in the postseason. However, we aren't built to win a lot of regular season games because of the conference that we are in, right? They're more of a pound down your throat, yada, 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 but in the playoffs we're playing a lot of spread teams. So, like, I definitely understand where he's coming from in that aspect. So let me ask you this question. Do you put Patrick Mahomes as a scrambling quarterback, or is, like, Lamar Jackson really the only scrambling quarterback that we really see in the NFL, like, right now? Or, like, you see it?
I think Lamar Jackson's obviously the only one that was going to run for 1,200, 1,300 yards.
Right.
You know, that's just the way that they scheme him up. There's quite a few mobile quarterbacks. I do put Patrick Mahomes in the mobile quarterback, just kind of like Justin Fields, but obviously way better. And I think Josh Allen's another guy. We mentioned the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
The Bills terrify me because of Josh Allen.
Right.
I mean, he's got the best arm in the NFL, I believe, in terms of strength. So that means they can run really deep patterns. The Patriots are going to play that man-to-man, and Josh Allen's a pretty quick guy too. I mean, this is a guy who could run for 100 yards, 125 yards in a game.
Right.
So he's a scary guy for me. The Bills are a scary team. I don't know if they have what it takes to beat the Bills. I definitely think they can beat the Jets, but the Bills do worry me. And as far as, again, Mahomes, I think Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. So what scares me the most about Mahomes isn't his scrambling ability. It's the fact that he can throw any type of ball from any type of angle to any receiver in any hole. It's amazing.
Yeah, and it is crazy how just a couple years of that, and now we're already starting to see that in college and like high school. You know, like that type of no look passing and stuff like that. It's just kind of crazy to me a little bit here. But moving forward here, before we get into the final question of the day here about the New England Patriots, let me ask you about some other teams here in BC Combs' power rankings. So if you guys do not know, Brandon has released his power rankings for this week 8 NFL season. The top four are unchanged. He still has the Bills at 1, the Eagles at 2, the Giants at 3, and the Chiefs at 4. When you hear those top 4, Wayne, do you agree with those top 4, and why or why not?
I understand why that's the top 4 when you look at the records and you look at the points scored and the defenses and all that. But from a realistic standpoint, like, which one of these teams are going to make noise in the postseason? Which one of these teams are going to be in it for the long haul? The Bills and the Chiefs, for sure. Anybody from the NFC East, forget it. I don't care how good they are. I don't care if Philadelphia, goes 14-3. That's a one and done team, maybe a 2 and done team. No team in the NFC East is going to make noise in the playoffs.
Okay. I beg to differ on that. I mean, it's definitely not the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles can be 17-0, but until they put together a full game, they're definitely not the best team in the NFL by any means. Alpha Rob says Mahomes can throw that sidearm pick too, right, Buck? Yeah. That's how the game ended a couple weeks ago. Sidearm pick right into the Buffalo Bills. So it was pretty grand here. But speaking of the East, bouncing down to the AFC East here, the New York Jets are coming off a 16-9 victory over the Denver Broncos on Sunday, and they play the Patriots in New York on this Sunday. Wayne, what is your prediction of this game, the Patriots versus the Jets?
This is probably going to sound crazy considering the beatdown they just got. I'm expecting a game something like 27-6 or 27-3 Patriots win, because I think that Zach Wilson, I don't think, is a great quarterback. And I think that Bill Belichick, the last time he played him, made him look absolutely awful. Right. I think he's going to do it again. I don't think that he's ready to play against the Bill Belichick style defense. So that's really where it's going to be. Mac or Zappy, that's going to be irrelevant. I think you're going to see probably Ramondre Stevenson with 125 yards and a touchdown, maybe Devin Harris with 85 yards. And then you're going to see a lot of short dink and dunk passes and probably a defensive touchdown and 2 picks and a fumble maybe.
Yeah, so you are predicting that the Patriots win. What was the score?
27-6.
27-6, the New England Patriots over the New York Jets. So one thing that is going on with the New York Jets right now is the injury to Breece Hall, their rookie running back that was basically on pace to be rookie of the year and was hands down probably carrying that Jets offense. I mean, we never want to wish ill will or injury on anybody, but you as a Patriots fan, how much of a relief is that you don't have to face a running back like Breece Hall going into this week.
It's a little bit of a relief, but they also went out and got, James Robinson, who I think is a really good running back and was underutilized there in Jacksonville. He's a 1,000-yard rusher at one point. I don't think he's going to be ready in a week to, do anything significant. It's going to be like Christian McCaffrey, except way less talented. But you're going to see kind of like 5 or 6 plays probably they run with him, and then they're going to have whoever their second string running back is probably going to take the majority of the snaps. And that's one more reason that the Patriots are going to win this game. They just don't have that threat of the running game. Now, for that second meeting, once James Robinson's had a chance to learn a little bit more of the playbook, maybe I'll be a little bit more worried, but definitely glad not to face Breece Hall.
Yeah, they do have Michael Carter as the backup, I do believe, for the New York Jets right now. So I don't know, like, if he'll get the nod as starter or if Robinson will get the the nod at starter. But either way, they're definitely not a Breece Hall type of caliber of running back. So give me a bold prediction, Wayne. Right now, your Patriots are sitting in last place here behind the Dolphins, which are starting to get hot again, with Tua back. The Jets are still kind of the team that's surprising everybody, and the Buffalo Bills are the Buffalo Bills. Do the Patriots get hot and somehow either A, win the division or get a wild card berth into the playoffs?
And normally I would say absolutely 100%. The Patriots just get better every single game as the season goes along. They always have. They usually start off 2-4 or 2-3, and then they kind of pick things up once they figure things out. But they don't know who's going to be the quarterback next week, the week after, the week after that. That's huge. That they didn't have that problem in the past. Even when they had Cam Newton, they didn't have that problem. You knew who the quarterback was going to be.
Right.
So that's my big worry. But if I wanted to say a bold prediction, which is something that we'll say is, I wouldn't bet on it, but it's fun to say. I'm going to say that Bailey Zappi wins Rookie of the Year and takes that starting job from Mac permanently.
There you go. I like it. And making a wild card berth?
Yeah, why not? I mean, because all you got to do is beat out the Jets. I don't think they're going to beat the Bills, but I say beat out the Jets and the Dolphins. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, the Jets and I think the Jets have kind of played their course, like a little bit. Like they were hot, and now they're probably going to figure out who they are, and they are an 8 or 9 win team still, like at best. And Miami, yes, they did look better with Tua, but they looked better for a quarter, not a good 4 quarters. So it is to be determined with the Miami Dolphins still moving forward here. So with all that being said, Wayne, do you have any closing thoughts about your Patriots?
I just hope they figure it out. Hope they figure out who the quarterback's going to be. I support either guy. I wish it was Bailey Zappi. I think that's the smart move. But whoever they go with, make sure you stick with that guy. Don't pull him out after 1 interception or 2 interceptions. Whoever they name as a starter, which they should do right now today, they should name the starter. Give that guy all the snaps, and then in the game, unless he gets hurt, he's playing start to finish, and then assess after the game.
There you go. I like it. So, guys, that is Wayne G. He is a sports writer about the New England Patriots, former host of Infinity Sports, and be sure to check out his newest show that he is a part of in his Recast 2.0. Him and Daniel put in great work over there. I catch myself listening to it at least twice a week over there. So, Wayne, as always, thank you for your time, man. We'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. That is Wayne G., the man, the myth, the legend himself. Be sure to follow him on Twitter. I'll put his Twitter in the description along with the link to his Recast 2.0 podcast. They do movie reviews over there and like recasting and that kind of thing. They do great work over there. We do see a couple more people popping up into the chat here. I see Jacob in there. What's up, Jacob? I see my man Drew popping in as well. Howdy, boys, with the Z. I'm always a big fan with the Z, Drew. So you definitely had me with the Z, man. So definitely thank you guys for tuning in tonight. But right now, guys, we are going to talk about Beastie Combs' power rankings. If you guys have not checked out his power rankings, you should. Check him out on Facebook.com/manhour. And guys, these power rankings are some of the most questionable power rankings of the season to date. So when he first sent me this, I was like, there is no way this is real. There is no freaking way this is real. And yes, it is. It is very, very much real in these Week 8 NFL power rankings. So coming in at number 10, he has the Tennessee Titans. Okay. Tennessee Titans did beat the Colts last week. Congratulations. But to be a top 10 team, I just don't see it. I don't feel it. Coming in at number 9, he has the Miami Dolphins. Yes, Tua is back, and they looked good for a quarter, like I just said. But they're still 4-3 on the season. They're just not a very good team right now, and they're definitely not putting full games together. So that kind of makes me vomit in my mouth a little bit here. Number 8 is a little bit more okay. I'm okay with it a little bit. He has the Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals did come up and beat the Atlanta Falcons last week, which they should have. They should have won those games, right? Coming in at number 7 is the Dallas Cowboys. You can say they struggled a little bit with the Detroit Lions, but the Detroit Lions are a sneaky good team. They're not horrible by any means, but they're not great. Dax first came back, so you got to work off the rest alike a little bit. So that is good. Like we said, we were just talking about the Jets. The Jets are coming in at number 6. They did beat the Denver Broncos last week, but Breece Hall out for the season with the ACL tear. That is huge loss for them. They still have Michael Carter, and then of course picked up Robertson as well from the Jaguars for a 6th or 7th round pick. Then at number 5, this might be one of the most underrated teams in the NFL. I've looked at other power rankings, ESPN, CBS, Bleacher Report, all those other ones. None of them have this team as high as Beastie. Beastie has the Minnesota Vikings coming in at number 5. Now, I don't love it, but I don't hate it either, right? Because the Vikings are probably going to win the NFC North. Let's just be flat out honest about it. They have one of the most prolific offenses in that division right now. The Packers are complete trash. The Detroit Lions may win 3 games this season. And the Chicago Bears, who knows what you're going to get with them. You can grab them an ace, and it's going to be like blackjack. It's either going to be 11 or like a 1, right? So it is what it is with the Chicago Bears. But the Minnesota Vikings come in at number 5. Number 4. This team's a little bit low, in my opinion, for the slacking that they gave the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday, but that is the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs are doing nothing but getting better right now, guys. The Kansas City Chiefs are starting to gel on the offensive side. The defense is getting better, even though Chris Jones chokeslammed that guy and got suspended for 2 games, but we'll talk about that a little bit tomorrow. And then coming in at number 3, just like what Wayne G said, he has no faith in the NFC East. I do have faith in the NFC East, just not these 2 teams. The Philadelphia Eagles are coming in at number 2, and the Giants are coming in at number 3. Neither of these teams will make noise in the postseason if they make it to the postseason. The Philadelphia Eagles, I see Alpha Rob saying that the Eagles fans would be all over Wayne G right now. Guys, I have made some shorts on YouTube, and the Eagles fans are literally coming at me in drones here, right? They're saying, oh, we're undefeated. We should be number 1. Oh, you guys have yet to play a full game like I've been saying for the last 2 weeks. You guys are literally the Arizona Cardinals 2.0, the Pittsburgh Steelers 2.0 from the last 2 seasons. Hell, the Philadelphia Eagles could easily start 12-0, and they still going to be a first-round playoff exit. They're not that team. But coming in at number 1, the team that is the Buffalo Bills. Good God, can anybody beat the Buffalo Bills when they're playing at peak performance and like healthy? Absolutely not. Yes, the Miami Dolphins beat them earlier in the season, but Micah Hyde was out. They just had White go down. Like, they were literally playing their JV team just at that point. And yeah, when the Buffalo Bills are clicking, or no, not even clicking. When the Buffalo Bills play their C game with all their starters in there, no team in the NFL can beat them. I said it. It is what it is. But guys, that's going to be it for tonight. A little shorter show. Got the man Wade Gene on to talk a little bit about Patriots. Tomorrow, we go back to normal programming. What is tomorrow? Tomorrow is Wednesday, so we got Way or No Way Wednesday coming up. We're going to pop into that. Alpha Rob says, smart man, Buck. Hey, my eyes tell me that I'm glad I bought a Von Miller Buffalo Bills jersey. It's not for me. It's for my wife. She's a Von Miller connoisseur. But I may wear it when they go to the Super Bowl and play the Dallas Cowboys in February. But nonetheless, guys, that's going to be it for tonight. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow, 8 p.m. East Coast time, right here on youtube.com/Man Hour. And as always, Man Hour Nation, rise up.